This is a South Korean movie released in 2023. It falls under the thriller disaster genre. It's said that the film cost 30.4 billion won. The plot is full of twists and turns, both thrilling and intense. Let's begin the breakdown. Jin-won is a security administrative officer at the Ministry of National Security. He lost his wife early in life and now raises his daughter alone. Due to his busy work schedule, their father-daughter relationship seems strained. At this time, a new presidential election is taking place. To ensure his daughter gets a better education and manage his heavy workload, he decides to send her abroad to study. However, his daughter is not too willing. They don't exchange any words. Jin-won silently continues driving. On the busy Incheon Bridge, thick fog covers the entire structure. Everyone is driving cautiously, but just then, a luxury car speeds by from the side. The driver is a social media influencer, actively live streaming at that moment. Apparently, there must be quite a few fans in his live stream. Soon, the man pays a hefty price for his reckless behavior. With two cars blocking the road ahead, the influencer fails to swerve in time. His car spins a full 360 degrees, forcing a bus behind him to stop as well. With visibility extremely low, the accident occurs in the blink of an eye. Dozens of cars crash into each other. The scene is utterly tragic. But the disaster doesn't end there. An oil tanker is already closing in. At this point, one side of the bridge is completely paralyzed. A patrol vehicle reports the situation to the authorities. Several military transport vehicles pass by the accident site, witnessing the devastation on the opposite side. Yet, despite the horrific scene, it doesn't seem to garner much attention from them. Meanwhile, Jin-won's car also arrives at the scene. As he takes in the sight of the wreckage, before he can even react, the car in front of him suddenly meets with disaster. One tragedy leads to another, unfolding in rapid succession. At this moment, a soldier in the vehicle appears terrified. He leans against the cabin, trying to confirm something. Jin-won's car has now come to a stop. Before getting out, Jin-won calls his superior, the Minister of National Security. Jin-won's superior is running in the presidential election. He needs to use every opportunity to gather votes for his superior. Two soldiers surround a bespectacled man, trying to contact the transport truck ahead. But after calling for a long time, there's no response. Sensing that something is wrong, he quickly rushes over with his subordinates. Meanwhile, Jin-won has no idea what's happening. The squad leader sees a dead soldier in the car, and immediately orders all signals to be blocked. It seems something killed him and escaped. Jin-won takes the injured bespectacled man to his car, but then realizes his daughter is missing. He starts shouting her name. Many people on the opposite road have lost cell signal. Meanwhile, the girl is drawn to the side of the bridge. By a loud noise, a strong hunting dog is violently ramming its head. The girl tries to stop it, but only draws the dog's attention. As Jin-won arrives, the alert dog quickly darts into the fog. The squad leader informs the bespectacled man of the situation, and demands he immediately activate a certain program. At that moment, Jin-won walks over, wanting to know what's going on. The two soldiers ignore him, even restraining him. Meanwhile, a man named Park arrives at the bridge in a rescue truck. He's happy, as this is his business. Jin-won continues trying to question the bespectacled man. The man simply tells him not to disturb him, or everyone might die. He contacts the squad leader via radio. The bespectacled man presses a button, and the dogs on the bridge seem to suddenly receive an order. They swiftly rush towards a designated target, tearing into the fully armed squad leader. The bespectacled man tracks all the dogs via GPS, but dog number E9 remains in place. The squad leader is forced into a vehicle. As the bespectacled man terminates the program, the previously aggressive dogs calm down. Apparently, some program is controlling these dogs. Suddenly, a military helicopter appears overhead. Its target seems to be the dogs. Jin-won grabs the bespectacled man, who's preparing to leave, and demands to know what's going on with these crazy dogs. The man assures him not to worry. The military will take care of relocating the dogs. He tries to recall E9, but there's still no response. He instructs the squad leader to track it based on the GPS signal. Arriving at the location, they find no trace of E9, only its control chip on the ground. Meanwhile, a squad preparing to transport the dogs suddenly comes under attack. Even the helicopter pilot has his throat torn out by E9. The helicopter loses control and crash into the bridge tower. The bespectacled man realizes with horror that the control program for the dogs has gone haywire. In an instant, the dogs burst out of their containers, racing toward anything alive. Everyone on the bridge becomes a target. Jingwon is also attacked by the dogs. Luckily, they get a chance to escape. They find a car and plan to leave when they spot Park waving for help. But Jingwon has no intention of stopping. Only after his daughter scolds him does he pull the handbrake and stop the car. Seeing this, Park runs frantically toward the car, desperate to live. Meanwhile, the crowd flees to a nearby bus, their screams filling the air. As the transport helicopter hanging from the bridge cables splits open, part of it crashes down, blocking Jingwon's car. The dogs surround the vehicle. Under pressure, the bespectacled man finally reveals the truth to Jingwon. It turns out that everything is connected to a secret military experiment. The experiment, known as Project Silence, was a covert Korean government initiative to combat terrorists. By using hunting dogs, chemically enhanced and controlled through sound technology, turning them into super attack dogs. However, an unexpected mutation gave the dogs extraordinary intelligence and an unmatched ability to coordinate their attacks. E9, the lead dog, was the mother of this experimental batch. If E9 goes rogue, it could spell disaster for humanity. At this point, smoke from the fire starts seeping into the car. Jingwon orders everyone to evacuate to a nearby bus. Luckily, the dogs have fled to avoid the fire. They rush toward the bus. Just then, the other half of the crashed transport helicopter is about to fall. Thick fog blankets the entire bridge. Given the circumstances, the government finds it difficult to arrange a rescue. To calm the public, Jingwon, as a security officer, tells everyone that help has been called. They'll be safe soon. To prevent panic, he also lies, saying the dogs have rabies, and that as long as they stay on the bus, they'll be safe. The bespectacled man knew that if the rescue team didn't come soon to control the mutated hounds, with the intelligence these creatures now had, they would all be in constant danger. At that moment, a fully armed elite squad arrived on the bridge and contacted Jingwon. Oddly, the squad saw no sign of the hounds. Could it be that they found a way to leave the bridge? Jingwon decided to organize a retreat, as the broken bridge could collapse into the river at any time. Under the cover of the elite squad, the survivors began evacuating in an orderly manner. As a participant in the silent project, the bespectacled man knew how terrifying the mutant dogs were. He quietly informed Park that they needed to find the notebook that controlled the hounds. Just then, a sharp alarm sounded. Two elite soldiers headed toward the source of the alarm, only to be ambushed by the mutated hounds. In an instant, both soldiers were pinned to the ground. Then, all the mutant hounds charged toward the crowd at full speed. Chaos erupted immediately. The elite squad became the primary target of the attack. The bespectacled man and Jingwon's daughter narrowly made it back into the bus. Jingwon, however, along with others, hid inside a toppled truck. They may not be able to escape. This was the revenge of the mutant hounds. It turned out that during the military experiment, E9 had watched its own child die from the tests. From that moment on, E9 might have already begun to hate humans. Meanwhile, the collapse of the bridge seemed to destroy the device blocking the signals. Jingwon re-established contact with his superiors and informed them about the silent project. He hoped they would investigate who had initiated the experiment. However, the Minister of Security fell silent when he learned that the silent project had been leaked. In fact, the so-called silent project was a biochemical experiment authorized by the minister himself to win the election. Now, with things going wrong, if the public found out, his election hopes would be entirely dashed. He deliberately delayed the rescue, hoping the collapsing bridge would bury all the secrets. He even lied to Jingwon, saying the rescue was on the way. By now, Jingwon had gathered the survivors back onto the bus. But the bridge was unstable, and they could fall into the water at any moment. Outside, the mutant hounds were still watching them closely. For a moment, Jingwon had no solution. Just then, his daughter came up with an idea. They could set a trap to lure the mutant hounds. So, everyone quickly made a simple setup inside the bus, then quietly hid in the luggage compartment. Next, they opened the door to attract the hounds' attention. Even though these hounds had become quite smart, the humans sent from inside the bus still lured them in without suspicion. Park hurriedly pulled down the setup, trapping all the hounds inside the bus. Finally, they had a moment of respite and waited outside. A long time passed, but still, there was no sign of any rescue team. Many people began to lose hope. At that moment, the bespectacled man finally revealed to Jingwan that the mastermind behind the silent project was the Minister of Security. Jingwan now understood why there was no rescue. Everyone who knew the secret was to be eliminated. After all, this was their usual method. Jingwan tried again to contact his superiors, but there was no response. He realized that the people on the bridge had been completely abandoned. The bus windows would not be strong enough to hold off the hounds for long, and soon, they would be in danger again. Luckily, the bespectacled man found the lost notebook. Perhaps it could control the hounds again. However, after some operation, it was clear the system was malfunctioning, and the attack command could not be stopped. But they could redirect the target of the attack. The group decided to use Park's tow truck to force their way past the airplane wreckage and escape. Unfortunately, the tow truck's keys were still on the bus. After thinking for a moment, Jingwan asked the bespectacled man to redirect the attack target to himself. He would then hide inside a military transport vehicle to lure the hounds away. If the mutant hounds broke free, their target would be him, allowing Park to retrieve the tow truck keys. The bespectacled man activated the program. The redirected hounds quickly smashed through the bus windows and charged toward Jingwan. Just as Park was about to grab the keys, E9, whose chip had been removed, was unaffected by the program. It locked its eyes on Park and gave chase. However, upon seeing the bespectacled man, E9 switched targets, recognizing the face. In that critical moment, the section of the bridge where Jingwan was standing suddenly began to collapse. E9, in an effort to save its child, abandoned its attack on the group. Jingwan was also in danger now, hanging over the collapsing bridge. Everyone was unsure of what to do, but the daughter refused to give up on her father. Ignoring the danger, she grabbed the tow hook and rushed over. E9, in the midst of saving its child, noticed this, but did not attack. At that moment, the bridge suddenly sank even further. Jingwan kept calling out for his daughter, but there was no response. Just as he was about to break down, his daughter suddenly appeared above him. She secured the tow hook to the military transport and shouted for Park. Park immediately started towing the vehicle to save them. Fortunately, the transport vehicle was pulled up. But the bridge was now on the verge of complete collapse. Meanwhile, the tow rope snapped due to excessive jolting. Luckily, everyone managed to escape from the collapsing bridge. When they reached the end of the bridge, they found a crowd of reporters and government officials waiting. The Minister of Security hurried over, trying to explain something, only to be punched by Jingwan. The bespectacled man then revealed the secrets of the silent project to the media. The reporters were instantly in an uproar, surrounding the bespectacled man to learn the truth. The silent project was now fully exposed to the public. In the final scene, E9, who had survived, saved one of the mutant hounds and brought it to shore. No one knew what E9 was thinking at that moment. End of the explanation. Thank you for watching.